Hi, everybody. Welcome to the last class. Look how far you've come. We've made it past the 21 days of changing a habit and past the 66 days of solidifying new wiring in the brain. Look at all that you've learned in the past 3 months. I want you to celebrate yourself. You've stuck with it. You've taken each next step, and you're going to continue doing that. So I applaud you and have so much respect for your courage in this journey. So let's look at what we've learned. We know what triggers are now. We know that that is a response to an emotional surge that's coming up in that inner system, in the subconscious mind. We know that those are protective parts coming in to balance the system, or being proactive and trying to control our environment so that emotional surge doesn't come up in the system. We know now that when we react impulsively, automatically, it's coming from that autopilot in the subconscious mind. We're bringing conscious awareness, prefrontal cortex, critical thinking, logical reasoning in the prefrontal cortex. We're linking conscious awareness with the subconscious autopilot. It is said, scientific studies have shown that after the age of 35, 95% of our life is driven by the autopilot subconscious mind, meaning it's determining our perception of reality when we look around. And based on that perception, which is, we now know, based on beliefs taken on by parts of us that became disconnected in the past. We know now to use our breath, conscious breath, if we are fully triggered in the moment, or yogic breath that we learned, to go from a state of not being triggered to an even deeper state of calmness. That's accessing self-energy, our core essence, what is naturally our characteristics of clarity, courage, confidence, compassion, understanding, kindness, patience. Those are all naturally inherent in our core essence. It's just that core essence gets buried by those protector parts. We also know that our reality is being interpreted by our perception, and that those core wounds and those exile parts that are shoved to the outside limits of the system, buried under rocks, in dungeons, in basements, we know that it's them screaming out. They're trying to find the person that will come see them, save them, help them from the exterior. The problem is that exterior being seen is based on our perception, that's based on those false beliefs that's held inside the core wounds. That's why we get the repeated life patterns over and over again. We now know also that what the core wound inside of those exile parts truly needs is core essence, is our self-energy. That is the only thing that will ultimately heal them. Community support systems helps to heal the level of body felt sense of safety and create new wiring in the brain. It's just that I have seen that it's difficult to bridge that when we are looking through our perception of the world as unsafe and full of these emotional surges and triggers, it's very difficult to bridge that to a felt sense of safety. Because even if we are with somebody safe or in a safe community, our perception is looking for the triggers, the dangers. So this process of what you have learned in the past 3 months is a perfect way to begin to bridge that from our original perception of false beliefs that are buried inside the subconscious to recognizing in reality, in the moment, what is actually happening. So now we know that when we're activated or triggered, I like to call it pinged. When a part inside is pinged, I know immediately, okay, number one, there's still a core wound there. And number two, I have these protective parts coming in with these thoughts or flashes of memory being shown to me. Immediately, the parts are trying to give a message to us. So whenever we are pinged or triggered, we know now to, one, pause for the cause, leave the situation if it is too overwhelming. Number two, after we get to a calm place, do our breathing or leave the situation, we know to turn our attention inward. Do that U-turn inside. See what the parts want us to know. The more that we do that, the more that we build trust. A way to continue to build trust in our inner system with our protector parts before we get pinged or triggered is by really instilling that daily practice of parts check-in. I find first thing in the morning, I even put my hand on my heart and I turn my attention inward and I say, is there any parts needing to be acknowledged right now? Sometimes songs will play in my mind, sometimes thoughts will come up or pictures of things going on in life. I add into my daily parts check-in practice the brain dump, what I adapted from The Artist's Way, the morning pages, is the brain dump, just writing out 3 pages, doodling, drawing. Sometimes it's like, oh, I want to try this. Oh, I have to remember to do that. And sometimes it's different handwriting, depending on different parts talking. So I allow that complete expression. Then do the breath. 3 conscious breaths. Inhale through the nose, pushing the belly out. Exhale through the mouth, bringing the belly in. And then I do the U-turn inside and hand on heart. Is there any part still needing acknowledged now? That centers us. It calms the inner system from self-energy so that that's the starting point to go out towards anything that comes up in our day that might ping us. So that is consistently over and over building trust in the system. Ultimately, what we want to get to is self-energy balancing the system, the inner system, in the subconscious, rather than our protector parts, proactive parts or managers, or reactive parts, firefighters, trying to balance the system. We want those protector parts to trust us so much that they will raise their hand and be like, hey, don't like what's going on there. Or I'm really worried this might happen. We need to look at this. We build so much trust that those protector parts are still in our system, but they have open communication. They are connected with us. They begin to be brought to the present moment and unburdened so that they can pop up, kind of raise their hand, and we can, in the moment, turn and say, yeah, I see you. Can you wait 15 minutes until I'm out of this conversation? So building that trust up with self energy, where the protector parts are trusting enough to relax back, self energy will keep that consistency of that balance in the inner system. Self energy will speak for the part. You will come to the point where you're able to hear what the protector part is saying, and then filter it through self energy. Sometimes it means not saying anything. Sometimes it means stating a boundary in a compassionate but confident and clear way. Sometimes it means leaving the situation and then doing that U-turn. The bigger the protector that shows up, the bigger the wound that's buried inside of that exile part. So that's the overarching theme of this whole process. Identifying where we're being pinged and then turning our attention inward, becoming that parts detector, noticing when we're blended, asking those parts if they can relax back so that we can connect with them, reconnect them back to the wholeness, core essence, and then continue building that connection with communication, building that trust. And that's kind of where this program ends. There was some information given over the past couple weeks on bringing the parts to the present moment, unburdening them, and then even healing the core wounds. But if you're not to that point yet, you're completely fine. You have the bonus one-on-one session with me. Definitely schedule that if you haven't already. And we will pick up in that bonus session right where you are. So it will be, I say good traction, like it will make, the tires kind of meet the road and you're going to get momentum forward. It'll be a lot more effective than if you're meeting me without having all of this understanding and practice and building that trust already in your system. So going forward, emotional overwhelm, we know, has to do with our core wounds and our protector parts trying to minimize emotional surge in our system. So emotional overwhelm can come from defensiveness, like a reactive firefighter part, or it can come from something more like trying to control the environment or people pleasing to make sure no conflict arises. I encourage you to go back through the course now with this understanding that you have, because every time that you do that and you go back through, you're going to hear new things because those protector parts will be relaxed back a little bit more and a little bit more and a little bit more. And you'll build more trust and more trust and more trust in your system. That's why this becomes a lifelong process. I still do the daily practice in the morning, and I'm still pinged every once in a while. But it's so much easier to see. I use the analogy of a bobber in the ocean. If there's waves crashing everywhere, and there's a small red bobber that pops up, you're likely not to even see it because there's just churning water and waves going everywhere. But if it's completely still water and a red bobber pops up, you see it immediately. And that's what's happening. So life events will still happen. Challenges will still happen. Conflicts will still happen. But the more trust we build in our inner system, the more that we lead life and direct actions, behaviors, choices, boundaries set, relationships chosen, from self energy, the more calm and more calm and more calm that water will become. So I encourage you also, aside from the check-in, the daily parts check-in, do the path exercise. When you're already calm, notice if the parts can relax back in the beginning of that exercise and wait for you in the forest as you go down that path. And go down that path up to that plateau and ask for direction, ask for answers, ask for guidance, and then come back down from that plateau back to that path, to the parts waiting for you, and tell them the answer. The more that those parts are seeing self-energy leading and directing, and then I'm telling you, every single time I did that, it worked out. The parts will begin to see that when self-energy is leading and directing life, it all works out. And usually with minimal effort on their part. So I really encourage you to do the path exercise. And it might not have to be every day. Maybe it's once a week. Maybe it's a ritual that you start doing as part of your self-care. I have a spa day that I do. Like, just incorporate it however it resonates with you. And that's something else. Going forward, you're going to, you'll be a parts detector. You'll notice when parts are coming up, but you'll also start to notice when things really resonate with you and when they don't. And you'll become aware, hey, it's my responsibility to balance my inner system. This isn't working for my inner system right now. And maybe it's just because you need to build more trust. Maybe it's because you need to reveal buried core wounds. Maybe it's just because it's not right for you in your life at this time. You'll be able to start more keenly detecting what resonates with you and what doesn't, because you'll be in self-energy. And that will start to lead and direct your life also. So, and if all of that, just living life, doesn't show you protector parts and core wounds, I always tell people, all you have to do is make a goal. Make a goal that's almost makes you a little bit uneasy, and see what doubts or fears or concerns or worries show up. And then do that U-turn, that inner dialogue with that doubt or that worry. You can talk directly to the doubt and let it start to unfold what part is behind it, or what exile or the core wound is behind it. It's fascinating. That's why I call it buried treasure. You're going beneath the surface to find the buried treasure. And the more buried treasure that you find and build trust with and connect with and heal, the more still that water becomes. And that's what you're building in your life now. You know, emotional instability is just parts scurrying around, trying to jump in the driver's seat, trying to figure out how to balance the inner system. That's all emotional overwhelm is. And the more that you have that trust built, that connection, that dialogue, that communication with the protector parts, the more you're going to start discerning what fits in your life and what doesn't. Naturally unfolding. People call it boundaries, healthy boundaries. And I used to call it healthy boundaries, but it's even morphed into something more like, does this resonate with me or not? You know? And then I just speak clearly about it, or what piece of it doesn't resonate with me. And then I watch, does the other person respect that? Or do protector parts of defense come up? Yeah, so you're embarking on a completely different way of life now, knowing emotional overwhelm is nothing more than just many protector parts trying to jump in that driver's seat of your bus of life, trying to bring calmness to the system. You now know what to do when you feel overwhelmed. And I say too, anytime we feel overwhelmed, concerned, scared, it just means we need to slow down. We just need to slow it down. The more we slow down, the more space we can create to become the observer of the protector parts. If I could just give 2 words of advice only to the world, especially in this country, it would be slow down. Anytime, even today, present moment, that I'm scurrying and I'm like rushing and I'm antsy, overwhelmed, I'm like, that's a protector part. What's going on in there? And I slow it down and I do that U-turn inside. Beautiful opportunity. So now you know what's causing that, whether it's emotional overwhelm, emotional instability, anxiety, stuckness, spirals. Now you know what it is. You know what to do, and you know where to go now forward. So, as always, I am here for you. I am here for questions. Definitely feel free to email me with direct questions. Definitely schedule your bonus one-on-one session with me and fill out that feedback form. And even if this resonates with you, if you could even just make a short 1 or 2 minute video telling me what shifts you've noticed in your emotions or even in your life, in your relationships, and your connections with other people. Just make a short 1 or 2 minute video on your phone, and you can send it to me by email, by text message. I really appreciate it. It is my life mission now to bring this to the masses. I want everybody to know you don't have to be overwhelmed. You don't have to be stuck. You don't have to live in anxiety anymore. We'll work through it. I most likely will be making a level 2 course also, and I even want to start specializing with certain issues. Over my last few years in private practice, I've seen specific issues continually come up, and it is a perfect trailhead, what we call trailhead in IFS, to learn about the inner system and reconnect with our parts. The number one that I would even say, I think, is emotional eating. So I probably will make another course specializing in that also. That's just deeper, that brings in the healing of the core wounds with the parts. So I love your parts so much. I call it the human parts, where self-energy is more the divine. I love the human parts. I denied mine for so long. And once I realized what they are and what they're trying to do, I have so much love and respect for them. They got you here. And now you're showing up in self-energy to help reconnect them and take them the rest of the way in life. And it takes a lot of courage to do this work. You've already gotten past the scary part. Can I just tell you that? I was so scared to do the U-turn and turn inward and look inside. I thought I had to be perfect to be loved. That was one of my buried false beliefs from early childhood. Now I know life isn't meant to be lived perfectly. Life is meant to be lived fully connected, fulfilled, aligned, where your life externally aligns with your purpose internally. There is joy and amazement and beauty. And I couldn't see it until I found out about this. So it is an honor to bring this to you. I am here for you. Reach out by email or text message, whatever you want, whatever works for you, whatever resonates with you. Thank you so much for having the courage to do this program. It is an honor.